Well, I grew up in Rogers Park. I went to St. Jerome's Grammar School. One of my favorite people was actually my third grade teacher. Kind of formed me in a lot of respects. First day of class in third grade, she gave me a chore in cleaning the blackboards. Responsibility, and so that kind of set a tone for me that I was supposed to be kind of a leader type and be responsible.
Cleaning blackboards. Sometimes you never know what small act will instill leadership in a young person. And Joe Scanlon is a leader. And it's those early lessons of responsibility that led Joe to enlist in the Marines in 1965.
In the Marine Corps, you went to either Japan or Okinawa. So we did get a day outside of Okinawa, and they told us, well, guess what? Nobody's getting off here. You're going to this new place called Vietnam.
His transport ship steamed past Okinawa, dropping Joe and his fellow servicemen at the city of Da Nang.
We went ashore, waited for trucks to come pick us up, and realized this was one very hot place. It was about 120 degrees.
The extreme heat made Joe's assigned duty all the more important: refrigeration and air conditioning mechanic. Their assignment was to build a base camp for the incoming troops.
We're building a camp for like 5,000 people. You're not going to live on the ground in a tent when you're in a monsoon area. So everything was cutting up wood and putting wooden structures to get you up off the ground.
Joe finished his tour in Vietnam, returning stateside, began attending night classes at Loyola University. It was there that another student caught his eye.
I met Mary in January of '68, and we got married in August. I graduated and doing good. Money was more money than we could spend for a couple of years, and lo and behold, then came the kids.
Joe and Mary moved to Mount Prospect in 1985, raising two children, Matthew and Cece. It was while watching a 4th of July parade that a member of the VFW marched past Joe. It was Mount Prospect resident Colonel Bob McKillop, and he wanted to talk about joining the VFW.
He's kind of noticing I got probably a Vietnam vet, so I'm good for him to talk about membership. Well, Colonel McKillop gets me to come to the meeting, and I'm kind of expecting all these guys that are much older than me, and I discover we're all the same. It didn't matter. You know, there was an age difference, but the stories were all the same.
Joe joined both the VFW and the American Legion in 1992. Was elected VFW Post 1337 Commander in 1995. In 2014, as an all-state commander, he led his post to all-state status for the first time in decades. As a leader, Joe most importantly embraces the main mission of the VFW.
I've learned a lot, learned how a lot of people really give of their time and life for the veterans. It's like the most true generous outfit that there is. I guess for most of us, the service kind of had a good experience in us as far as having duties.
Duty. Sometimes it's the simple things that instill a sense of duty. Giving your time to help those in your community, or cleaning blackboards. Joe Scanlon answered the call, and for that, Mount Prospect is grateful.
Mount Prospect Junior Women's Club is an organization with amazing women throughout the community who just want to give back in various ways. We actually use the phrase, if you've been to our website, small but mighty, and what I love about it is we get to know one another for many different causes, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. We just want to give back to our neighbors.
Small but mighty is a fitting description for the Junior Women's Club. They fundraise at some of the village's many events, including Irish Fest, the Downtown Block Party, and Oktoberfest, carefully choosing as a group where their donations are needed most. But that's not all they do. The juniors volunteer their time and energy while leaving an indelible mark throughout our village.
While Mount Prospect Junior Women's Club gives back to various organizations, we've also come back to giving a scholarship to young men and women in our community for college. We also give our time throughout the community. We have gone to Village Hall for packing the backpacks for children. We've gone to Lemons of Love to help pack their amazing cancer bags for kids. We've also even created a luncheon for our public works, men and women who support our community day in and day out. We've given to the pad shelters. Pretty much anything that we can do, if there's something a member brings to us, we're like, we're in, let's go do it.
And when our community faced one of its greatest challenges last spring, the Junior Women's Club was there. They were all in.
I think this pandemic hit hard and fast, and through it, I believe our organization, the Junior Women's Club, realized the importance more than ever, why we give back to our community, why it's so important that we support local causes, why you have to be creative in how you can give back when you can't even, be in 6 feet of somebody. I admire the women in our club who came up with ways to still give back.
And they continue to find ways to give back. But the club sees that their success rests on the giving quality of the community they serve.
I think our neighbors strive to give back to their neighbors, and not maybe their neighbor next door, but a neighbor across town that they'll never meet. You won't find this in every town. I think people genuinely care for one another, and they want to make, where friendliness is a way of life.
Friendliness rests not on one individual, but on all of us working together. And we have a small but mighty group to remind us of that.
I'm just one woman here on behalf of many women, a part of the small but mighty group that we have. I think the legacy for Junior Women's Club is just what we do, giving back, that stewardship for our community. While we don't set out in our endeavors and in our volunteering ever to receive an award back, we do hope that this brings around awareness for our organization. We're always looking for new members. We're always looking for new ways to give back to the community. So if your organization ever needs help or you want to come speak at any of our meetings, we would love to have you come and just reach out to us. So again, thank you. This means a lot to our organization.
To say that baseball is in Coach Sam Cannizzaro's blood would be an understatement.
My love of baseball comes from my father. I'm the oldest of 4 boys, and we've been playing baseball since we could basically hold a baseball, and before then. He was my coach growing up. I still play baseball along with my 3 other brothers on the same baseball team. He still coaches first base, so it's kind of born into us.
A local insurance broker living in Mount Prospect with his wife Kirsten and their 2 children, James and Isabel, Coach Sam has made it his mission to share his love of baseball with Mount Prospect youth through the Park District's Youth Baseball Patriots program.
The Mount Prospect Patriots program is our in-house travel program. So it is a more competitive baseball program. I'm part of one of several coaches. We go from ages 8 to I believe it's up to 14, and I'm the manager of will be the 10-year baseball program this year. I had always hoped in one realm or another to be able to help with children, help with coaching, and I have to thank my wife every day for her being understanding and having the love and supporting me in every aspect of this. So it just turned out to be a blessing between that and balancing a business.
Sam knows that it's more than baseball that he's teaching these children, always showing them that on-field lessons are really lessons for life.
I use actually baseball as a life metaphor for just about everything, whether it's dealing with school, to the friends, to family. Even though we may not have biological family, we're all a family together in this.
Sam's baseball family saw their greatest challenge this past year as the pandemic hit.
We are fortunate where baseball is a naturally social distance sport, just how everybody's spread apart, but not being able to give high fives to the kid, not being able to console a young person at 9 years old when they strike out or have a bad inning on the mound. That was the challenge, to know that I still really do care. We found a way, we made it through. I'm very proud of the kids. I'm very proud of Mount Prospect and the program that they did with being able to do this and keeping everyone safe and healthy. I think it's the soul and lifeblood that youth sports plays in a community. The Mount Prospect Park District program, baseball, all other sports that we're involved with in my family, second to none. The communication, the coaches, the passion, the love, what we have here and what I've witnessed and am part of, second to none, and I couldn't be prouder of everybody with this.
Sam sees this second-to-none cooperative spirit, not only in the Park District Sports Program, but for Sam and his family, he sees it within Mount Prospect as a whole.
As corny as it is, especially nowadays, it's the sense of community. People taking care of people, everybody seems very involved. All the families that we've gotten to know, neighbors, everybody, they take pride in being a Mount Prospectan, if that's what we're known as, and they just take care of each other very well, and it makes us very happy to be part of this.
Coach Sam feels that giving back is more than a feel-good act of kindness. For Sam, giving back is about individual responsibility.
I believe it is very important to give back to the community in any capacity as you can. Whether it's just taking in your neighbor's garbage can, something simple as that, or whether it's dedicating your time to a program, volunteering, anything you can do to help out and further the community and create a better set of bond with everybody. I think it's not only a civic duty, I think it should be a personal point of pride to do what you can.
The first one appeared in June of 2019, a small house on a neighbor's front lawn. Then they started popping up everywhere, sprinkled throughout the community. These are part of the Mount Prospect Mini Library mission. The brainchild of resident, head librarian if you will, Joey Carbone.
The MP Mini Library mission started with an idea to give access to literacy for the kids of Mount Prospect. We provide little tiny houses that sit on your front lawn. You open it, you take a book, you read the book, you share a book, and then you get that sense of adventure when you're visiting. It's fun to see what books are in there, what you could take out, what you could put in. It's a whole fun thing we could do.
A stay-at-home father, Joey was looking for a fun project to do with his two sons, Nikki and Christopher, when his wife Jen made a suggestion.
I got the idea for the mini library mission from my wife, actually. She always wanted one, and I said, I'll try to build you one, and I thought that was just going to be it. I posted the picture. Everyone said, wow, I would love one of those. And I said, I'll build you one. I'm not going to charge you anything, so let's do it. If you have the materials, I'll build it for you.
Over 60 mini libraries later, the Mount Prospect Mini Library mission has taken on a life of its own, stressing literacy for Mount Prospect children and nurturing cooperation amongst Mount Prospect neighbors.
This whole thing was just a completely organic effort. It involves all the neighbors. It involves the whole community coming together, and that's just the most important part of it. Whether they donate materials, or they offer their time to help build, or just dig a hole in the ground. Everyone comes together and finishes this whole project. It was completely eye-opening just to see how willing people were to help and give, and just how how generous they are. You know, it was nice to be able to provide them a platform in order to just be able to give.
With a Facebook page now boasting more than 800 members, this platform for giving shows what a community can do together. But Joey's plan to promote literacy through the mini libraries took on an added, more dire mission in March of 2020 when it went from helping to educate our children to helping to feed our neighbors.
When the pandemic hit, we, as a mission, had to kind of shift a little bit. We decided to help in other ways as well. We provided canned goods and anything that was non-perishable in our libraries as well, in order to help anybody who needed it.
Joey recognizes that there's something special about our village, that this level of neighborly support can be realized.
I didn't do this alone. If it wasn't for the community, it wouldn't be what it is. Mount Prospect is definitely a community that looks out for each other. We stick up for each other, we're there for each other, we help each other. Everybody made it what it is, and I'd be lost without them, honestly.
So what does Joey see for the future?
The MP Mini Library mission would love to expand. We would love to give a library to everyone who wants one, but we can't do it without the help of neighbors, people who want to support us, join our Facebook group, and donate time, donate materials. I mean, that's what we need to succeed and just cover the whole town.
Nick Acerenza has called Mount Prospect home for the past 50 years. In that half-century as a village resident, he's raised a family and has made a point of serving his community. It is through his time as a member of the Mount Prospect Lions Club that Nick has truly given back. And it is Nick's role with the Lions Club Farmers Market that has helped make the market an unmatched charitable partner for our village.
All that money that raised in the market, the village food pantry gets automatically $10,000 every year for that. And every year at Christmas time, we give the churches 5 $200 gift cards to the needy people in the church.
Widely regarded as one of the best farmers markets in all the northwest suburbs, the Lions Market is more than just a place to pick up tomatoes. It has become a Sunday ritual, a gathering place for local residents.
It's great to see the people come out. It's a social gathering on a Sunday. Let's call it we're the social directors for Sunday. You know, the vendors they're Class A vendors. A lot of people tell us that we run a high-class market. Yes, we do. It's not a flea market.
There's a lot of time, planning, and coordinating that goes into the market, and Nick has been a large part of that effort for the past 19 years. He does so without complaint.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love being there at 5:30 on a Sunday morning for 22 weeks. It's just great. The farmers come in, they're from Michigan, Wisconsin, Sterling, Geneva, all over. So when they're pulling in at 5:30, 5:45, all bushy-eyed, it's nice that we're there to say, hey, how you doing, you know? And I do it because we enjoy it, the committee, we enjoy it, and I know that the revenue that we're going to generate is going to help people who aren't as fortunate as we are. Because there are people who are struggling, and if you could help them, I think it's important to let them know that we care about you. We care about you being a resident. We care about you in general, that you're a person, you're a human being, so we care about you.
2020 proved to be the market's greatest challenge. As village events were canceled or postponed because of the pandemic, the Lions Club Farmers Market found a way.
2020 was not a normal time. We did okay. We did okay. We were able to do the contributions that we normally do.
They did more than okay. Residents came out in support during an uncertain time when it would have been easier to just stay home. During the run of the market, the Lions helped donate over 10 tons of food to needy residents when it was needed most. In accepting this award, Nick is determined to make one thing clear.
It's not me alone. It's not just me. It's not an individual. But I say, and I keep repeating, it's not me, it's not one. It's a committee and it's the club. I have Don Geisler, I have Fred Steinmiller, Vince Dante, Jim Calhoun, it's the club that comes out there and the extra people that we need to help us. Because come by 1:30, we're tired. I think I'm proud of the Lions Club for what we do. To know that it all goes to good charity. There's no fees, there's no salaries. We just do it because we do it.
Nancy and Tom Bussan appreciate the small-town feel of a community. Growing up in the Galena area, they moved to Chicago at the beginning of their 42 years together. After their family began expanding, they decided they wanted to get back to that small-town feel for their two growing children, Sean and Renee. So, they went looking.
We just kind of took a drive out to the area in the suburbs to see which suburb that we would like to live in. And when we came across Mount Prospect, it just felt like home.
Tom and I moved to Mount Prospect in '91 and been in the same house ever since. So we love our neighborhood, love our block, love our neighbors. Everybody knows everybody and helping each other out, and I don't know, we love living there.
When we first moved in, the neighbors, 3 or 4 of them came over at the same time, welcomed us to the neighborhood, and just that gave us a warm feeling that we're welcomed. And now we want to just return the favor and show them that we love the neighborhood, we love the area. It's fantastic.
And Nancy and Tom have returned that favor of kindness many times over. They reach out to the neighbors they love in big and small ways. Whether it's keeping a neighbor in mind when shopping for PPE at Costco, or when a neighbor loses electricity, taking them into their home.
Or the elderly woman that lives across the street from us. Her tree in the back, a big chunk of it fell and knocked down her power lines.
And so she stayed with us because there was no heat until they got the line put back up again. And
We kept her over there at our house, just moved her in for 3 or 4 days, and at least she can look across the street at her own house, so she sort of felt like she was at home.
And we've cared for her ever since. After her husband passed away, and it was like our mother that we just took care of. And we adopted her. We loved her.
As a longtime custom cabinet maker for local company Parenti and Raffaelli, Tom was uniquely suited to lend a hand with the Mount Prospect Mini Library mission and fellow shining star Joey Carbone.
Actually, Nancy started with them and said that if I wanted to take a look at some of the little libraries that they were building.
Tom would be cutting up pieces, almost like making a gingerbread house where you get the kits, the parts and stuff.
Then from there on, our company at Parenti was donating all the wood.
And so that just helped Joey progress with the library mission so much quicker.
And it's just like rewarding to see the people that we give them to, how they're so appreciated that what we've done with the libraries, and it just makes me feel good to help.
Helping comes naturally for the Bussans, and they attribute that ease in giving to their small-town roots.
It's just the way I was brought up. Tom and I both grew up out by Galena, so it's a small town thing where everybody takes care of everybody, and if anybody's down on their luck or something happens, everybody chips in to help.
I like helping people, not to expect anything back. I love helping people so that maybe it'll pass on and they'll like what I do and they'll do the same thing later on in their years.
Nancy and Tom plan on staying put, having found their little piece of small town right here in Mount Prospect.
Oh, we love Mount Prospect for sure. It's sort of like in between the small town thing that we grew up with and the city where we lived for a while That's what we love Mount Prospect. Kids keep wanting us to move up by then, but we just, nah, not yet. No, maybe someday we'll retire, maybe we will, but for now we just love where we are.
Community business partners come to Mount Prospect from all over. Some moved north from the city, others from different parts of the state or country. And then you have the instance where a partner has always been a part of the community. Homegrown, your neighbor. Nicholas and Associates started in a home on Stevenson Lane in 1978, when Nick Papanicholas Sr. worked out plans for his first construction job on his kitchen table. For over 40 years, Nicholas and Associates has remained a true community partner for their hometown of Mount Prospect.
Being a hometown guy, I mean, if you can't get excited about developing in your own town, you probably shouldn't be in development work at all. And for us, the return is not on a financial basis, it's on a feel basis. We've probably completed 20 projects in Mount Prospect, and every one of them to us is super important and some of our favorite projects.
When Nick Papanicholas Sr. unexpectedly passed away in 2016, it fell to his children, Gina, Joe, Tony, and Nick Jr., to carry on their father's legacy. The 4 kids had big shoes to fill.
He was a people person. Treat people with respect, listen to what they have to say, never talk down to people, and just be a regular guy. And you know, those simple principles in life are how you build relationships. I was fortunate enough to really be on my dad's hip from day one. He would throw me in the truck, I'd go to the job sites starting at 12 years old, and ultimately everything I've learned in this business was total by osmosis. And he would always say, I'll deal with the perception on the market that you guys are young, but I'll never deal with the perception that you don't know what you're doing. And he entrusted us to run his dream, which was Nicholas and Associates, and we loved every minute of it and still do.
Nicholas and Associates has grown through the decades, executing development projects throughout Illinois, Wisconsin, and beyond. In Mount Prospect, they've not only town grow, they've been an active part of that development. One project that stands out to them is when they brought ice skating to Mount Prospect.
The Mount Prospect Ice Arena is a really special project. From an emotional feel standpoint, that was one that my dad financially supported in a tremendous way. So to see that open and to see all the kids utilize that facility was just tremendous. And it touched all the Northwest suburban children and many children in Mount Prospect, and something that, you know, again, I'll never forget.
Being a part of the community for Nicholas and Associates doesn't just mean building structures. For them, it means building friendships and giving back.
Nicholas and Associates is a huge supporter of all the school districts and the educational foundations, so we always like to support the ed foundations and events and sponsorships and scholarships. We give apprenticeship and internship opportunities to District 214 students. The construction industry has a need for the next generation, and that opportunity at the high school level is something we've gotten really excited about.
Nicholas and Associates continues the legacy that Nick Sr. started in the family kitchen, and for all their future growth in business and community, one thing won't change.
We are a forever Mount Prospect family. My wife Katie and I love the town, and we're looking forward to what it looks like 10 years from now, because the community is the fabric of what we all are. It's the friendships, it's the families, especially in Mount Prospect. It's just an awesome, it's a feel thing. It's just really about doing the right thing, and if you do the right thing, good things happen.